Good morning, everybody. It is July 31st. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Jay Boersma here, usually running the board. Now that is John, because Liv is out, Jesse is out, so then you got me. So yeah, we have a lot of stories to talk about, mostly Olympics, but I wanted to start with the Colorado Eagles. They just announced at 9 a.m. this morning a new stadium, the old stadium. You can see some pictures here. It looks beautiful. If you go to their Twitter or X, you can see the whole video. Their old stadium from 2003, they said, was too old. They have sort of a lifespan of 25 years with all the new technology coming up every time. So it was time for a new stadium. Besides that, Northern Colorado has grown by over 500,000 people since 2003. So it was due a new stadium. This new stadium, this way, the capacity will be 8,600, and the old one was 7,200. And it's supposed to be a mixed-use, transit-oriented entertainment district development. So there's a lot more than just this stadium. But I think for Colorado Eagles fans, this is a very exciting thing. Not sure when it's going to be built, because yesterday, the Guerilla City Council voted unanimously to explore the viability to build all of this, which I guess means that it's going to happen. Why else would the Colorado Eagles announce it this big? The pictures look beautiful, so very exciting. Other than that, not too much happening in Colorado. We're still just waiting for stuff to happen. The Denver Nuggets, they got Russell Westbrook, but other than that, it's still pretty quiet. I'm not sure how they're going to do this year. They've lost a lot of talent in the last few years. And with Russell Westbrook, it's going to be interesting to see what he can bring. But I don't think they're going to be as strong as they were last year, or definitely the year before. So I would say maybe underdogs. Curious what you guys think. Then the Avalanche, they're looking strong, but also has been quiet for a while now at the transfer front. Would have loved for them to get Daniel Sprong, the only NHL player from the Netherlands. And maybe you didn't know, but I'm also from the Netherlands, so I was highly rooting for him to come to the Avalanche. But the Vancouver Canucks picked him up. So maybe I can interview him when he gets here, when they play the Avalanche. Too bad. We'll see if the Avalanche are going to do anything else. And obviously the Broncos in the middle of training camp. We still don't know who the starting quarterback is going to be. I mean, you guys all know that. We'll see how they start this year. I'm cautiously optimistic, mostly because, like Nate Jackson said on his show before, it can't be much worse than it was. And I also think that a young quarterback can help this team really build up again. I think with an older, more experienced quarterback, you have that downfall, or the pitfall. How do you say that? You have the danger of having to work around that experienced guy. And I think it's difficult if you're experienced, if you've achieved a lot already, to just change everything you're doing. And for young players, I mean, even Bo Nix is not that young anymore, but he's not as experienced. He hasn't played in the NFL. He's a rookie. So could be very interesting to see how he can just develop in this team. We'll see. But then it is time for the Olympics. And I want to start by talking about beach volleyball, because yesterday there was a very interesting game between the USA and the Netherlands. And of course, I want to talk about this game. My hometown, my home country, and my new home country. But not just because of that. I want to talk about this guy right here, Chase Budinger, because a lot of you might know him from the NBA. This guy has played in the NBA for 7 years, including the Houston Rockets for 3 years, Minnesota Timberwolves, Indiana Pacers, and the Phoenix Suns. And then he was like, I'm not feeling it anymore. Let's start something completely different. And he turned to beach volleyball. And now at 36, he made the Olympics. Incredible story. And I have a video here. Let me pull this up of him saying hello to some old friends. LeBron James, And we got KD right here, Kevin Durant, and we also have Anthony Davis. How cool is that you see your old, not teammates, maybe opponents, but I mean, these guys all know each other, and then seeing them at the Olympics playing for a completely different sport. I think that's really cool. And he wasn't just anyone in the NBA. Before he got into the NBA, he was a co-MVP of the McDonald's All-American team together with, can we pull that up? Not that guy. Let's see. Exactly. Because who do we see here? That is Chase Budinger and Kevin Durant. And now they're both at the Olympics for different disciplines. How crazy is that? Chase Budinger, it was a little bit surprising to see him at the Olympics because I worked in international pro beach volleyball for a while, and I know how strong the U.S. teams are. There's a lot of very strong teams. It's only 2 players also, and you can only send 2 teams to the Olympics per country. And the U.S., a big country, big fans of volleyball and beach volleyball. So you can imagine there's a lot of strong teams. And Chase Budinger at 36 managed to be one of the top 2 teams together with Miles Evans, his teammate. And then he played yesterday against this Dutch team, Stepan Bans and Jorik de Groot, or I would say Jorik de Groot, because we're in the US right now. Stepan Bans also has a very interesting story. He didn't start playing until 22. He was playing amateur soccer as any Dutch kid would do until 17, 18. And then he switched to indoor volleyball because his friends told him, like, maybe you should try that sometime. Turned out he was actually really good at it. Then he switched to beach volleyball a year after he started playing beach volleyball. A year after he went onto a beach volleyball court for the first time, he started playing international games already. And yesterday, those two players met each other in Paris in front of the Eiffel Tower. How just unbelievable that story is. I'm sorry, Americans. The Netherlands crushed the U.S. in 2 sets, but Chase Budinger can still go to the quarterfinals. He will play on August 2nd, which I think is Friday, and they will play against Spanish Herrera Gavira, and that will be their last chance for the quarterfinals. I can see them win that, but it's going to be a tight one, so keep an eye out on them on Friday. Then let's go to the U.S. women's gymnastics, because how can we not? Simone Biles does it again and again and again. Unbelievable. Another gold for the team this time. They called it the Redemption Tour because some of you might still remember in 2021, Simone Biles made some missteps. A lot of things went wrong, and then she just flat out just stepped out of everything. Quit the Olympics, and a lot of people told her a lot of foul things. But she said, quote, in 2021, "I was feeling the weight of the world on my shoulder," and she chose herself. I think that's a very strong message for mental health, very important. And then she came back in 2024 with Suni Lee, Jordan Childs, Jade Carey, and Hesley Rivera, and they won the gold medal in the team gymnastics right there. And what I think is so beautiful about this is it's obviously mostly about Simone Biles, but it really was a team effort. You could see that. I mean, check their TikToks, their Instagrams. You see how well knit they are. And it's sort of like the men's team yesterday where everyone is cheering with each other. And they all need to perform separately, but they all cheer as a team. And I thought that was really cool to see. It's not just Simone Biles. It's the team that won the gold medal yesterday. The Redemption Tour after winning silver in Tokyo in 2021. And Biles also had something to say on Instagram. Did I even pull that up? I didn't. Well, let me just say, she said, let me pull it up. I'm sorry, guys. She said on her Instagram, "Lack of talent, lazy, Olympic champions." That is a stab at one of the other players in 2020 who said that there was a lack of talent They didn't try hard enough. She attacked Suni Lee for how she looked, and they proved her wrong, and I love that for them. Then I want to talk about something else. Still Olympics, men's football and men's soccer, I have to say. We're in the US. They reached the quarterfinals for the first time in 24 years. And I'll get to that later, why that is impressive and why that's so important. Yesterday, they won 3-0 against Guinea. And Colorado Rapids player Georgi Mihailovic scored once again. He scored 2 goals now. This was a beautiful free kick. The other 2 goals were scored by Kevin Paredes. And there's a team in Olympic soccer. It's a little bit different from a World Cup or a Copa America. The teams mostly consist of players under 23 years old. And you have 3 players that can be older than that. One of those players is Georgi Mihailovic. It's interesting that the US chose to send him. He's 28 years old. There's a lot better players, in my opinion, that are 28 years old. But he's proving me wrong. He scored twice. He's very important for the team. And I think this could be a real pick-me-up also for the US men's national team, because in 2026 they're going to play the World Cup in this country, and they played the Copa America and they lost terribly just a month ago, few weeks ago. They lost against the Netherlands in the World Cup in 2022. So if there's been a lot of talks. We've talked for a long time about how the US is coming up in soccer. There's a lot of talent there, but every time they just cannot deliver. But here, they finally reached the quarterfinals with mostly young players. So hopefully that will boost the team a little bit for the 2026 World Cup, because you don't want to go down in a World Cup in your own country. We'll see. But obviously, women's soccer, way, way bigger in the US. And rightfully so, because they're crushing it again. They're up in their group. They need to play one more game starting at 11, and that is 18 minutes, 48 minutes, 48 minutes from now against Australia. And there's 3 Coloradans on the team: Lindsay Horan, Sophia Smith, and Mallory Swanson. And all 3 of them are so important for this team. They've scored 7 goals in total now, the U.S. women's national team. 5 of them scored by Mallory Swanson and Sophia Smith, with 2 assists from Lindsay Horan, the captain. So very interesting to see how they do this next game. I think they could even lose it and still go through to the quarterfinals. So it really gets interesting on Saturday when they start playing the quarterfinals. European countries are catching up to the US, but they're still, in my mind, the big favorites for this Olympic run. So we'll see if they can win. And then one last topic: the women's rugby sevens. It's an unbelievable story. If you haven't seen this, look it up. In the last 5 seconds yesterday, the whole bronze medal game versus Australia completely flipped. They were down 12-7, and with 25 seconds to go, Alex Cedric gets the ball, hits 2 Australian players, and runs 95 yards to make a touchdown. Do they call it touchdown in rugby? Well, you guys know what I'm talking about. After that, they had one of those kicks, and they scored 2 more points, and they win basically after time was already over. Incredible. And this is the first ever medal for women, for any rugby team in the US. So very, very impressive. And then there's one more player in the US rugby team that I want to talk about, because she has been everywhere. And then, I mean, mostly on social media. Alona Maher, probably the biggest TikTok star at the Olympics right now, with 1.8 million followers on TikTok, 1.9 followers on Instagram. I checked this account 3 days ago, and it was 1.2 million. People love her, but she's a little bigger, and that was reason for a lot of controversy. Very interesting. She is 200 pounds and 5'10", and she's been, I wouldn't say struggling with her weight her whole life. There's been talks about her weight her whole life, but she is incredibly athletic, very strong, very, very healthy. But it was still reason for a lot of people to criticize her on how she looks, even though she was carrying this team. Even some people calling her maybe trans, which is a wild thing to say without a wild thing to accuse someone of without proof. She's an absolute star. So if you haven't seen her videos yet, absolutely do follow her. And I mean, there's no better way to shut down the haters than to win the first ever medal in rugby for the US. So very, very cool. And that is it for today. If you're still watching the Olympics, which you should, at 11, the US women's soccer team is going to take on Australia. Then tonight at 1 a.m., if you're still up or if you wake up early, Wyndham Clark is finally going to start his golf tournament here at the Olympics. So keep an eye out on that. Then Friday, Chase Budinger, last chance to reach the quarterfinals. And Saturday, the quarterfinals start for the women's soccer team. Absolutely would highly encourage you to watch that. And that's it for today. This was the only show we have for you today. Like I said, Liv is out, Jesse is out, but tomorrow Liv is back for you with another Guerilla Sports Daily. If you can't get enough of us, just rewatch this episode over and over and over and learn everything about everyone I talked about today. If you're watching this on X, please make sure to watch us on YouTube because you can rewatch everything. You can watch all the interviews with players, especially interesting with the seasons starting again soon. We'll be at the Broncos, we'll be at the Nuggets, we'll be at the Avalanche, and you don't want to miss that. We got the best coverage, the highest quality coverage, mostly on our YouTube. So make sure to subscribe there and watch all our videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I'll be back running the board tomorrow. Today that was John. Thank you, John, and we'll see you tomorrow.